What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome to Fresh Comic Stories. Guys, this is the channel where we basically sit down and cover different kinds of comic book stories. Now, guys, today we are going to jump back into more Ultimate Marvel, and once again, we are going to pick up with Ultimate Fantastic Four. Now, guys, this is the second half to Volume 5 of the Ultimate Fantastic Four run. And guys, in this storyline right here, we get introduced to Namor in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And so guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. But guys, I do hope you enjoy. To begin today's storyline, we pick up where our last video left off at. Remember, the Fantastic Four just came back from the Marvel Zombie Universe, but when they have returned back, they were greeted by Mary Storm. And she is the mother of Johnny and Sue Storm. Now, the thing is though, she had apparently died 15 years ago. And so with her being back here in front of her whole family, it's a huge thing. Your mother supposedly dies in a car accident, but then she appears after 15 years of supposedly being dead. It's huge for your family to deal with. That is when you have Mary Storm tell her kids where she has been. She tells everyone in the room that she was hired by a certain client to look for the lost city of Atlantis. The thing is though, she was kind of forced to disappear from her family because of her client. She wasn't allowed to have any kinds of contact with her family. The only reason why she had come back in the picture now, because she for one found the location of Atlantis, but secondly, she needs help to kind of reach Atlantis. And so of course, she came back only because she heard about how her kids were now superheroes. And so with her telling everyone in the room all that information, you have Susan Storm just freak out and just leaves the room angry at her mother, which to me, she kind of has a right to be upset at her mom. Your mom supposedly dies in a car accident, but then comes back 15 years to tell you, oh no, I left you guys behind because I was looking for the city of Atlantis. And I could not contact you guys because my client told me I was not allowed to talk to my family. Now, we do get a two-page setting where you have the writer Mark Millar remind us about the Marvel Zombies Fantastic Four. They were captured in our last video, and this is just a reminder that they are still around, but could make a comeback in a later story down the road. Now, we do jump over to the middle of the ocean, where we pick up with Franklin Storm, Mary Storm, and the Fantastic Four about to go into the ocean to search for the city of Atlantis. Where of course they do find the city of Atlantis very quick and easy. And also you do have them look around to see some things about Atlantis. Now, this is where I kind of want to have a quick discussion of Atlantis. In the Ultimate Marvel Universe, Atlantis is just like the Tell in our world, a city that sank into the ocean. But in the main Marvel Universe, Atlantis is still around and functioning in the present day. It did sunk to the bottom of the ocean, but Atlantis did not just die off. In the Ultimate Marvel Universe, when Atlantis hit the bottom of the ocean, it died. But in the main Marvel Universe, when Atlantis hit the bottom of the ocean, they just evolved. And that's it. Atlantis is still around and functioning in the main Marvel Universe. That is the big difference between the two universes when it comes to Atlantis. Now, you do have Reed Richards find a random tomb in the bottom of Atlantis debris. But the thing is, when he looks at it, he can't unlock it because the technology is so advanced, he's kind of like, I never seen anything like this. It is impossible to open up this tomb. I wonder what's inside of here. But that is when he looks up and he was able to read one word from Atlantis, and it says Namor. And as soon as Reed Richards says the name Namor, the tomb just busts open. And that is when you have Namor out in the Marvel universe, in the Ultimate Marvel universe. He just breaks out and he flies up to the shore of the ocean. With Namor breaking out of his tomb, you do have him start attacking the forces of people that came with the Fantastic Four, which of course he does wreck them very easily. You do have the Human Torch step in to fight against Namor. It is only the Human Torch because he was the only member of the team who didn't go down into the ocean to look for Atlantis, mainly because of his powers. Now, at first, it does look like Namor is about to lose this battle to the Human Torch, but literally the next page, Namor just wrecks the Human Torch. Luckily for the Human Torch, the rest of the Fantastic Four do step in the next moment and they knock out Namor very quickly, which means he does get locked up in the Baxter building. That is when we jump over to the Baxter building, where we pick up with the Fantastic Four kind of questioning Namor about Atlantis. Because again, in this universe, Atlantis is completely gone. Namor is the last person from Atlantis, and the Fantastic Four wants to know more about Atlantis. The problem is though, Namor is ignoring every single question that is coming from Reed and Mary. The reason why? Because he looks at them as just peasants. He's kind of like, why should he help them when they are not even worth to be in his presence? This is where you have Namor break out of his binds and tells the Fantastic Four he will only tell things about Atlantis to Susan Storm because, well, he is attracted to her. Now guys, before we jump over to the next setting, I want to sit down once again and say one last thing about Namor, that this Namor here in the Ultimate Marvel Universe is just like the Namor in the main Marvel Universe when it comes to their crush over Susan Storm. Guys, if you read the classic Fantastic Four storylines from the 1970s and 80s and so on, Namor would always try to hit on Susan Storm. Matter of fact, Namor would hit on Susan right in front of Reed Richards, just like he's doing right now in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. That is one thing I can't talk, sorry guys. That is one thing they do share. Even though they're in different universes, they both have a crush on Susan Storm. Now, we do jump over to the setting where you have Namor and Susan Storm spend time with one another. Now, the deal was he will tell secrets about Atlantis, but only to Susan Storm. The problem is, though, he is so turned on by Susan that he is trying to get her in the bedroom instead than actually talk about Atlantis. He even teleports them somewhere else in the city so he can get away from the robots who came with her. That is when he tries to make his move on Susan, which of course she's like, nope, because she is with Reed Richards. But that is when we jump over to Reed and Mary, who are looking at stuff from Atlantis. And that is when they find some more information about Namor. He was not the king of Atlantis. He was the prisoner of Atlantis. He was locked away because how powerful and crazy he was. And now the Fantastic Four had just released the worst enemy of Atlantis into the world. And right now, he is attacking Susan because Susan turned him down. With the final chapter of this story, we quickly jump over to the point where you have the entire Fantastic Four try their best to fight against Namor in the middle of the city. Now, of course, Namor is wrecking every single member of the Fantastic Four one by one. And so right now, it is not a fair fight. That is when you have Reed Richards pull out the Fantastic 05 armor. Now, This armor suit actually has all the powers of the Fantastic Four. And right now, he is trying to use this armor as a way to defeat Namor. The problem is, Namor basically breaks the armor to pieces and leaves Reed Richards with just the helmet, meaning that the Fantastic 05 armor was pointless. Now guys, this does lead into Reed Richards' second plan. Now his second plan is to use the helmet because the helmet is able to conjure up illusions of different people. But these illusions can actually cause harm to the person he is trying to attack them with. And so you have Reed conjure up illusions of some of the members of the X-Men, all of the Ultimates, and including Spider-Man to fight against Namor. And at first, guys, Reed Richards is winning this fight. It does seem like it could end very soon. The problem is though, the helmet does drain a lot of power. And right now, Reed Richards is tapped into the city grid. And so you have Franklin Storm kind of like, I need to turn your helmet off, because if we don't, we can cause a citywide blackout, and we can't have that. And so you have Franklin Storm turn off the helmet of Reed Richards. Now, this is the biggest problem with this storyline, because you're talking about fighting against a man who's right now basically a god, and you're talking about turning off the one thing that is helping you win the fight against Namor, all because you are afraid of a blackout. But anyways, we do pick up with the Fantastic Four doing some more powerful moves to finally put Namor down. The thing is, you have Namor say, I have been holding back this whole time. This whole time while we were fighting, I was holding back. And that is when you have Namor start to pull the ocean above the city. And he says, listen, I will flood all of New York right here and right now with a snap of my fingers. And that is when you have the Fantastic Four kind of beg Namor to not do that, because he'll kill millions of people. That is when you have Namor tell Reed Richards what he can do to save New York. He needs to let Namor kiss Susan Storm, and she has to mean it. And so to save New York, Susan Storm had to kiss Namor, and Namor said, fine, I will not flood New York, and he goes back to Atlantis. That is how the battle wraps up. And honestly, that is a very bad ending for a fight. But anyways, we do jump over to Mary Storm right now saying goodbye to Susan Storm. Now, at first, this does seem like the two characters are back to being, nice to one another once again, because Susan was mad at Mary for leaving her 15 years ago, but it does seem like Susan has forgiven her mother. The thing is, as soon as Mary is saying goodbye to her daughter Sue, we see on the back of Mary Storm a dragon symbol, the same symbol that Victor Van Dam gave his followers in his own storyline. Guys, remember, back in Volume 2 of Ultimate Fantastic Four, where we covered the first time the Fantastic Four fought against Doctor Doom in this universe, Doctor Doom had followers, but on the backs of those followers, they all had a dragon symbol as a way to kind of mind control them. And right now, on the back of Mary Storm, is that same dragon symbol, which means she could possibly be working for Victor Van Dam, aka Doctor Doom. And guys, this is where we are going to end today's video. And so guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here, and I'll see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.